It's a new day. We're towards the end of January. It's near my birthday, and much like we went to a National Trust property and IKEA for Juliet, this year we are going to Cambridge and the Imperial War Museum at Duxford for my birthday. So it's a Friday, so it's quite quiet, and the first stop is here in Cambridge, where Juliet wants to go to somewhere called Fitzbilly's to buy an expensive and unnecessary cake, by the sounds of it. But we're walking through Trinity College's grounds. We've got the nice Cambridge views all around us, and we'll do some more videos if we find anything interesting to look at. So here we are in Cambridge, and very nice it is. It's always good to come here. I worked here for about 6 months early in my career, and the problem with working here is you never actually come here in the day. It was only at night when everything was shut, so it's always interesting coming back and seeing it when things are actually open. So we have had lunch in the market, which is very nice, and we're now at this Fitzbilly's place Juliet wants to come to, and I think she's going to be buying some iced Chelsea buns. Next stop for us, after a bit more walking around, is going to be the Imperial War Museum at Duxford to go look at some planes. So we are here at Duxford, and we've got a year's membership for £99, so we can go to see some other Imperial War Museum sites this year, like HMS Belfast in London we've not been to. But we are here right now, and we're going to go look at the Concorde to start off with and see what else we have time for. So we are now in the Spies in the Sky hangar, here in the sort of main hangar here at Duxford, and we have a Victor nuclear bomber. We have a replica pink Spitfire, and we have lots of planes which are involved in aerial reconnaissance. Lots of Spitfires, a few other planes. And we'll just walk around the back of this Victor, which was part of the nuclear V bomber force, and we'll try and get a good angle of it from the back. One of the unfortunate things about coming to plane museums is you can never get an amazing view of things because they're always sort of shoved in a corner, but we'll try and get as good a view as we can as we walk around. So we're now in the main hangar with all the most impressive aircraft. There are many other hangars, but this is where we are for now. And we have a Harrier jump jet over there. We have a massive flying boat. We have the humongous Vulcan bomber. Got a Gloucester Meteor up there. English Electric Lightning. We've got a Panavia Tornado in front of us. It's very claustrophobic inside. We've got a de Havilland Comet. And all in all, it is great to come here and have a look around. And here we are in the de Havilland Comet, which was one of the first jet airliners built by the British. Very impressive plane for the time. The problem was they designed the windows of the plane to be square, which didn't seem like a huge issue, but the squareness of the windows was a weak point, and 3 of them basically decompressed and disintegrated while flying. So while they were trying to figure out what happened, the Americans and a few other nations managed to get more involved in the aircraft building industries, and Britain's advantage was lost. So it's a bit sad, but it shows some of the risks people took in the early jet age. So we've just walked through Concorde. We've just had a look at this plane here, this Avro York I think it was called, which was involved in the Berlin airlift. We have the TSR-2 here, which was going to be the sort of nuclear bomber of the future for the RAF before it was cancelled. And now we have a Vulcan bomber. There's the front of it. We're just walking underneath here. You see into the bomb bays there. And this was Britain's sort of primary nuclear bomber for a time, and was involved in the Falklands War as well. And let's walk around the front, past the Lightning, and let's see if we can get a good view of the front of a Vulcan bomber. The Vulcan bombers are so big, it's always difficult to get a good view. I've been to see them in quite a few museums, and they're always sort of shoved in a corner and you can't get a look. Here's not too different. It is not the most visible thing, but I'm going to walk up some stairs and hopefully get another view of it from a different angle. So we're up on the walkway around the hangar, and we have the excellent view of the Vulcan bomber in front of us, and over to the side we have Concorde. So very interesting, probably said that quite a few times, very interesting exhibition though. And here are all the planes that we've seen. So the main ones, the Comet down here, the Concorde, the Vulcan, and we've had a look around all the others. We're now going to leave here and go into one of the other hangars, the flying hangar, where there's some planes which still fly, and that's probably it for the day. We are now in the flying aircraft hangar, and you can see lots of aircraft in various states of repair. So this is where you can bring your aircraft if you want the museum to look after it. If you pay them probably a fair bit of money, and they'll look after your aircraft and they put it on display while they do so. So there's lots of interesting aircraft in various states of repair, and it's generally older propeller driven aircraft. I guess something with a jet engine is a little bit harder to maintain, and as the man at the front desk put it, insurance is a big factor on flying any of these old aircraft. So we're done with the flying aircraft hangar. We saw a very risque picture of a lady on the side of a American bomber, which Juliet wouldn't let me take a video of. But we're now out here by the runway here at Duxford, which is still used by people, as you can see from the more modern planes in front of us. And it's only about 2 o'clock in the afternoon now, but we are done for the day. We want to get home before the M25 gets too busy. But we'll be in this part of the world quite a few times this year, and we can make use of our year's membership and go see the other hangars here, which are further up the road. Juliet and I are at somewhere called Burnham Beaches today. It's still January, it's still very cold, as you'll be able to tell from the icy water in front of us. But this Burnham Beaches is a forest in Burnham, quite close to where we live, and it has some historical significance. There used to be an Iron Age fort here, for instance. But we've just come to have a wander around today, not done too much. Started at the car park and went to the cafe, and we've now come back via the ponds. And if I come over here, we have the information board. And just to look at the map here in the corner, we've just gone from the car park down here to the cafe and back. So there's a lot more to have a look at next time you come here. Hopefully, when it's a little bit warmer as the year goes on.
We are at Westminster here this afternoon, and we are here because I have booked George and I a tour of Big Ben. Now we'll be walking right up to the clock tower, however unfortunately you cannot take any phones or devices up there, so we'll get back to you inside but not up the tower.
We have now done our tour of the Queen Elizabeth Tower to go see Big Ben, and a very interesting tour it was. We're up for about an hour and a half. We got to go to various different rooms, the most interesting of which were the clock room, which actually has the mechanism of the clock in it. Got to listen to some bells in there. There's actually 5 bells up there. There's the big one, Big Ben, and then there's some smaller bells which play a tune every quarter of an hour. So we got to go up there, look at the clock, listen to the bells. Big Ben is very loud, and we got to go look at the dials, which were very impressive as well. So all in all, an excellent trip, excellent tour. And now we're in Westminster Hall, which is something we're allowed to look at while we're here. And this is a very old hall, which is part of the larger Palace of Westminster. So we're just leaving now, but the sun is setting a little bit, and we have this great view of the Queen Elizabeth Tower with Big Ben up in the view with the clouds behind. Normally the view's a bit more messy than this because you've got all the tourists, but there's no tourists here. So we just got this great view. It's a new day here in the UK, and Juliet and I are up near my parents' house in Garstang, and we're having a wander around. I've not been here for quite a long time, so I'm just reminding myself of all the places I went as a child. And here we are in the local library, which I worked in very briefly, and now feels a lot smaller than it did 20 years ago when I was last here. We are now in the heart of Garstang, walking down the high street, which is a lot nicer than it was when I came here. Very cosmopolitan now, lots of cafes to go to, and it looks a bit more interesting for the kids. So I've reached my mother's, and I'm now having a run around. So it's a roughly 6-kilometre run you can do, and I'm going to run around it now. Do it quite slowly, but keep the heart rate down. but it should be good fun. But as you can tell, I'm already a little bit out of breath. I'm up around a kilometre and a half into the run, Calder Vale where I live down there, and I'm having a nice run around. The plan was to try and keep my heart rate low, but the hills have ruined that. Here I am at the old school I used to go to with its accompanying church, and now I'm going to go into the Bluebell Woods, and I wonder if there's any bluebells out to have a look at. So through the difficult gate, shut the gate, restart my watch, and off we go, see what we find. So the run is done. Not a bad time for 6 kilometres on very hilly terrain, and I'm now just looking at the wonderful view out down towards Garstang, Blackpool and the Irish Sea. Really nice view, especially as it's actually supposed to be raining today. We are in the Lake District today, and we're at Caesar House, which is a country house here in the Lake District, which we're having a walk around. It's National Trust, and you know we love National Trust properties, but looks like we're going to be going around the garden first, and then we'll be going into the house, and then best of all we'll be going to the second-hand bookshop. But first we have a tree. You can definitely tell we're in the north of England now because it has started to rain. It's nearly the end of March and it's bitterly cold, but this garden is very pleasant. Nice water feature here, nice little rockery, but it is a bit grim, but nevertheless still nice to do. Got quite fond memories of here from a child doing Easter egg hunts. It's not quite Easter Sunday though, so there's no Easter egging to be done, so we're just having a wander around in the rain, and then we'll be heading into the house. We've now found a large lake, and we've got a nice view of the castle slash country house in the background. So we're here walking through the house, and a grand old house it is. Lots of interesting places to go to. Now it is still lived in, so some of it's closed off like this area here, but generally very nice to walk around. Mine's a bit of our house, creaking and falling apart, but at least we've got UPVC windows to keep the cold out. There's some single glazing here. We were watching a video and this house is around 800 years old, and the same family's lived here the entire time. So it's very nicely done, as most National Trust places are. And interesting to walk around and have a look at what they have here. And just as we're leaving, we've got a nice view of the castle from the front. So the old bit is sort of that tower to the right hand side, which was very medieval, and then the wings are the newer bits, which are more like the 17th and 18th century. But yeah, very pleasant house to look at. And I'm now going to be heading to the second-hand bookshop, the best bit of any National Trust property, to see what we can pick up for not too much money, hopefully. We have left the National Trust property, and we're at a petting zoo watching Juliet dance with a goat. Not sure if a goat's supposed to be here, but it is here. And basically this is a petting zoo where people can come and pet the animals. But the reason we're here is because there are lambs. It is spring, so we have lambs here, and in about 20 minutes time apparently there's going to be some lamb feeding going on right here. And here we have lamb feeding, or small sheep feeding, at the park, which is the main reason we're here, because Juliet desperately wanted to do this. So we're now heading deeper into the farm, and we're finding some more untraditional farm animals. We have some emus hanging around over there. We have some more sheep. We have some turkeys for some reason, I guess it's something to do with Christmas and being eaten. And over in the distance we have a herd of llamas. And there's also an owl here that Juliet's been able to hold, and we have some rabbits, including this absolutely massive one hanging around in this hutch. So this petting zoo is at Greenland Farm Park, and given it costs £6 to get in, it's pretty good to be able to see all the animals hanging around, including this goat just chilling here in the gravel. And especially with it being lambing season, it's very good to be able to feed them, as we did earlier on today. So it's another new day, and the weather has gone from being freezing cold to being far too hot in a matter of minutes. And we are walking up Beacon Fell, which is a sort of big hill near where we live, or near where my mother lives I should say. And there's some trees and some paths, and it's all very nice. But we're out to get the trig point at the top. You can hear I'm a bit out of breath. And at the trig point, we will no doubt have a nice view of the landscape all around us. And there we go, lovely view of the landscape all around. So there we go, that's the view from the top of Beacon Fell here in Lancashire. We are on our way back to the south, the end of our time up in the north, and we are at the Baddesley Clinton National Trust property, which is on the way home, which is convenient, but also it's a rather pretty country house in the middle of a moat. Looks really impressive. So we're going to go in and have a look around. We won't be doing any more videos here because you're probably a bit videoed out of random National Trust properties. So we will see you next time we're out and about. It's mid-April and we are back at Windsor Castle using up our 12 months worth of access from the last time we were here. And we are outside of the castle this time watching the changing of the guard. And I think in a moment a load of people are going to walk straight past us. So we'll keep rolling and see what occurs. So we've now seen the changing of the guard from the outside, which complements us seeing it from the inside last year. We've now had a walk around the staterooms, which were very pleasant, but no videos allowed, so didn't get anything from there. And we're now looking at the ceremonial grounds in front of us. The staterooms are sort of all around it, so that's where we've been. And we're now going to have a bit more of a wander around and then go grab some lunch. It's a new day and it's late April, although you wouldn't know it from the frigid cold weather, and we're at Durham Park National Trust property, which is one of their big value ones. We're getting £19 worth of value here, and we're going to be going to walk, going to the house and then circling back. So we'll see what we find en route. We've made our way into the grounds and we're now having a walk around. Got this wonderful view out across the countryside. We've got Bath and Bristol sort of around here. Not quite sure where they are because they're hidden by cloud, but they're definitely out there. And we're just heading down this hill to the gardens and we'll see what we find when we're there. So we've walked through the wooded terraces and we're here in the gardens of the house, and they're very pretty, lots of tulips everywhere, very nice. And here is the house in front of us, church to the side. So this house is from around about the 16th century from what I read in the leaflet. Not too sure on any of the other details because we've not been in yet to be briefed on the history, but looks very fancy. Only thing of interest is it's in a sort of valley, and given we had that wonderful view from the top of the hill, not quite sure why they didn't build it up there. So we have now reached the main house, and having learnt a bit about the history, I can fill you in a bit. So this is the house of a chap called William Blethwaite, who was a civil servant in the 17th century, working for King James and then William of Orange. And he was in charge of war and collecting taxes from colonies. So he had a lot of money, and as a result he built this very nice house to live in when he wasn't off doing war and getting money. And it is a very impressive house. We're out the back of the house now, heading back towards car park. It's a bit interesting here. Where I was at the front, with the gardens, that was the old front of the house. But when the motor car came, when they had to put bigger roads in, they had to move the road up to the other side of the hill. So what used to be the back of the house became the front of the house, which is a bit of a weird thing. But now we're going to be heading back, walking up this big hill, and we'll be going to a pub to have some nice food.